am Raquel Graham, and you are listening to Entrepreneuring. And I am here with Sanford Livingston, who is the CEO of NorCal FDC. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And for flying in this morning. I feel honored that you did that. Thank you.
Anything for you and your listeners, my dear.
So Sanford, can you, before we get into your background, I want you to tell the audience, what is it that your company does?
We make dreams come true.
And how do you do that?
I'm one of 7. And there are 2 of them down here. There's a PCR and a Cal Southern, and then there's NorCal FDC up in Northern California. We all don't have any boundaries but the boundary of California itself. And what we do is we provide synthetic collateral to lenders like commercial banks, regional banks, credit unions, and CDFIs, which are community development financial institutions, where there is a lack of sufficient collateral to make a good deal great. We don't make bad deals good, we make good deals great by providing that synthetic collateral. And that's 80%, Raquel, up to a maximum of $5 million for a deal that is no bigger than $20 million. And that's for small businesses that are 750 employees or less and that have a need for less than $20 million.
Okay, so let's break down what synthetic collateral is, first of all, because I don't.
Sure. Well, most folks know what collateral.
That's right.
They either have a secondary signer for a car, right, or they'll use their house as collateral. They don't give it up. They don't stop living in it, but they pledge it as a backward security in case something goes wrong. Right. Most times nothing goes wrong and the funds are lent and you pay it back and you keep moving. Well, there's a certain segment of the society and our audience and our entrepreneurs that for some odd reason, could be a whole bunch, where the collateral is deficient, right? And so back in 1968, California developed a system. It was much smaller back then, maybe 250,000, but it would provide collateral to back up a loan that a small business was trying to get, where the lender said, this is a great deal, but they just don't have sufficient collateral. Sanford, can you actually help by providing that? And if they fit the eligibility requirements, which many of the lenders they can be certified very quickly. There's 120 lenders in California that actually use this program. The program is managed by the iBank, the Infrastructure Bank of California. So those funds, they have a trust fund there. And right now with the SSBCI, which is the State Small Business Credit Initiative, we'll have over $400 to $500 million in that trust fund. And that backs up the promise, which is what we make to make those dreams come true.
Okay, so first question, is this unique only to California?
Well, the program that we have is, I would say, if you ask me, is unique because the size of the guarantee and the way we administer it is pretty unique, because we are the only ones that have financial development corps, which are Raquel, are actually nonprofits, so to speak, and they're legislatively set up to report up to the iBank right now, and there are only 7 that are allowed to do that.
So you develop relationships with lending institutions, in particular banks, to offer up to 80% synthetic collateral for loans up to how much? And it's mostly for businesses, right?
Up to 20 million. So it's only for
20
businesses.
20 million person? One company?
One company. Yeah, and we're very, very particular with that, Raquel. So what we do is, even if a company is kind of fragmented, has different owners and stuff, and they may have gone to another FDC to get some funds, we collectively look at all of the owners, and no one person can have more than the $5 million max guarantee, because that's what we offer per business owner, even if that owner kind of fragment themselves and they own different companies.
So my question is, what makes a company want to offer guarantees? I'm trying to figure out, because it's such a risk, the risk is on you because you guarantee 80% of that person's loan. So then the bank only has 20%.
True.
So what is the catalyst? Like, who starts a company to say that we're going to guarantee 80% of loans for small businesses that banks don't think have enough collateral?
Well, excellent. So I'm going to go into
To figure out, it sounds all downside.
What is for me, this quantum mechanics that takes place. That means that if you ever think about the double slit experiment, and any of you listeners out there can look it up and Google double slit, SLIT experiment, you'll see that when you don't view something, and if it's particles, it'll act as a wave. If you view it, it'll act as particles just because you viewed it. And I honestly believe that even with lending as an art, when you view something, it changes. And to let you know that this can be actually looked at, Raquel, and the performance can be regulated and kind of judged with the metrics, our loss ratio is around 1%. All right, so that shows you that whatever we're doing, it's working. Second of all, the lenders have to be good lenders anyway. They have a Bauer rating of 3. They have to. And many banks, they don't care really what you say. It could be a 2% guarantee. They don't want to lose money. So what they're looking for is a system or a tool that will allow them to make their algorithm or their underwriting philosophies and formulas work. And many of them say when there's enough collateral in place that it will do that. But not only do they have the collateral, Raquel, they also have these incredible technical assistance that they have access to and things that they wouldn't have done without the guarantee. So the guarantee is more like an initiative that kind of gets folks looking at the businesses the way they should be looking at them, and it actually helps to ensure their success. Sure, we're going to have problems and we're going to have losses, but for banks only do this as an exception to the rule. However, I'm talking about regional banks.
Yes.
So they don't. They'll do 8 or 9 deals, and maybe only 1 or 2 might be ones where they actually use this tool. Yeah. But for CDFIs, which are the community development banks, the lenders, well, they usually have maybe 75 or 80% of their deals done that way because they have to get their funding from alternate sources. So they have to make sure that they have insurance on that money.
Only, you said less than 1% default.
Yes.
Why do you think that is? Because that is, you would think the opposite, right? We're talking about small businesses that traditionally it's so hard to get a loan. Now you offer 80% of a guarantee, and you would think the risk would be more, yet the default is less than 1%. And what do you I have a theory why that might be, but okay. Why do you think the default?
But before you start, let me explain to you. Let me explain to you why it works so well. And the great thing about it is nobody even cares to do the analysis on why it works well. I got data from 68 to now that proves this out. So it's not like it just had some other issues along the way, but we've mitigated them and then we worked them. But here's the thing, Raquel. When we offer the guarantee, there are other things that, terms and conditions around making sure that you have the business plan, that making sure that you have your taxes in order, that make sure you take your technical assistance really seriously. We actually connect all of our deals personally to SBDC, which is a small business development centers, so that if you ever need any help, even if the banks need the borrowers to come up with more information about projections or things of that nature, they can get that help. So when you bring the heat and when you provide this, I call the ecosystem and the Justice League for small businesses, then you start pulling together all of the various things that we have, whether it's a business plan, whether it's projections, whether it's this. And so if I equate it back to when I was a kid and I was watching the Super Friends, and we had a sea monster. And of course, when you had a sea monster, I tell you all the time, the one you call is Aquaman. Ask him how you breathe underwater, how you talk to fish. They ain't got nothing to do with you, right? So when we call these specialists to help these small businesses, those are the things that other types of folks
and lending
do. Right. So like, I'll give you a quick example. Like for fintech, they don't go into history because there is none, right? So what they do is they focus on the processing of dollars. So one of the things that they've done, which everybody that's a small business can allow to, is that they will take the money out of their account every day from their other accounts.
That's right. Yeah.
So they're not underwriting; they just grab it. We don't do that. We don't get involved. We don't get involved with pricing and those things. We just back up the lenders that do their job.
Theory anyway.
Okay.
And this is the theory, and it is very similar to working moms, right? Because it's so difficult for small businesses to get loans. For an institution that gives you the shot, you will make sure that you don't blow it. Just like in corporate when there was flexible, flex was started with flex time. And I think there's tons of data to show that, especially for working moms, that if you work with working moms, they're going to triple work for you because we're so grateful that you allow us to take care of our kids and to, the opportunity to work. So that's my theory, which I think maybe psychologically will contribute, because if you mess that up, this fantastic opportunity, because you obviously want to build a relationship so that you can continue to get this loan guarantee, folks know that you won't, ruin it, then if you do ruin it, it's no good for you, for your future.
It's very true. It's very true. That's a great theory, but it's so much more basic, Raquel, because most people, if you asked an entrepreneur about a CDFI, they couldn't tell you the first one.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's where most of the dollars are coming from. Most of I call them micros, deals that are $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 or less. The folks who will focus on those are CDFIs. And even large banks don't do those deals because they're just too costly. So what they'll do is they will give money, or they will set up arrangements with those CDFIs to offer funds to those particular groups that they want to get to, and they'll make it and they'll get credit for them on their CRA exams.
Okay, quick answer on this one. How many people know about this program?
Not many.
And why is that? Here's a better question. Who knows about it? Is this like a underground, a certain sector? I mean, most people have not heard about this. So, and you said it started so long ago. So who's been taking advantage of this program?
It's just been an underground type of a thing. Many of the state can't market it because the state's not allowed to spend marketing dollars on its programs. The FDCs are marketing it, and I've just been one of the newer presidents and CEOs of the program, and many of the other folks, because of many of the challenges that they've had, have tried to broaden their scope, and they do many other things other than the guarantee.
Right.
So they do loans and they do technical assistance, and we're one of the few that does just the guarantee.
This is Raquel Graham, your host of Entrepreneuring. We are here with Sanford Livingston, CEO of NorCal FDC. So Sanford, I know you're from Trenton. Walk me through how a young man from Trenton ends up the CEO of NorCal FDC.
So, I was born in '64, did my thing, had a great time in the area. And as I was coming along, I really wanted to have a career. I saw these kids in these private schools reading under trees and all kinds of great stuff, and I wanted that. I wanted it. And my mom said, good son, I taught you well. I want you to have something more than a job. And a job to my mom was just over broke, and so she didn't want me to be just over broke. She wanted me to have even more than that. So I ended up going, trying to get into these schools, and in sixth grade, but by the ninth grade I was there, and I was in something called the ABC, A Better Chance, where I went to Amherst, 3 states away, graduated, did very well, and then ended up going to a wonderful place called Wesleyan University. So first, I went out there, and I think AT&T was breaking time in my freshman year. And so there was somebody at the New Jersey National Bank who was a CEO, and his name was John Walther Sr., and he was from Wesleyan, class of 57. I was like, I'm putting my suit on, I'm going down there. And so I went down there, Raquel, and I went and I applied, and he was like, I got in. I don't know how I got to see him, but he said, well, son, I don't think we got any jobs available. I said, brother, my Trenton name, brother, I don't give a damn if I'm driving a truck. I'll take a job. And he said, drive a truck? So I ended up, my first job with New Jersey National Bank was driving a truck from the supply warehouse to the headquarters to deliver supplies. And the rest was history from there. I ended up becoming a teller, doing great things. And I had this notion that I wanted to find out more about the finances and how it worked. Ended up moving out to California after I graduated from school, worked at an insurance company for a while, and then went and I was a consortium fellow at USC, did my time down there, and came out and did my wonderful career at Wells Fargo for about 18 to 20 years. And I worked with the senior executive staff on a lot of different things, and it was just intriguing to me, and that's how I started. Then I ended up working at NorCal as a product manager, and then COO, and then eventually the CEO, and I've been running it for about 8 years.
Your views toward finance?
I always saw that money was the center point, and whenever I was there, I saw money being handled by other folks outside the community. Right. The person that came to collect the rent was somebody. The rent was somebody different. The person I paid the light bill to was somebody. The Mercer Street Friends Center, and there was a whole bunch of different people. I said, well, damn, I want to get down and be a part of that. Right. And so I started to say, I want to be a part of the movement of money. And that's when, after I started, with the finance piece, I realized that there was a lot behind it. And that's why, Raquel, I really hope that from this conversation, your borrowers, your entrepreneurs understand that we've got to stop even saying it's hard. There's so much money, it's all falling out the sky. But you got to know how to present, how to prepare, and how to work towards it. And that's what I'm here to do.
That's a perfect lead into my next question, which is, what is the most common reason small business owners bank loans?
Not prepared. Don't have a business plan.
So I have to tell you, I have a real attitude about this this topic because entrepreneurship is so hard, and it's like the chicken and the egg. You put all your money and your resources into building the company, so a lot of times your finances are not going to look great. You know what I mean? It's like you put it all in, and you just don't have, a lot of us don't have the resources, the rich aunt or rich uncle as that seed money. So we put in our money, and it's our credit cards, et cetera, to build the company. So it's hard to know even when to look for a loan, or how you could qualify for a loan for growth.
Perfect sense. Okay. But here's the thing. When I told you about the backwards of money, right? Money is capital, right? And capital comes in a couple of forms. When we're talking, mostly you and I, we're talking about loans, which means you want somebody else's money to support your dream and vision. And that's like, okay, how do I know I'm going to get my money back? You don't know from a loan. So there's also a different type of capital, which is called equity, right? And equity doesn't need to be paid back right away. They've got Kickstarter, they've got GoFundMe, they got all these fascinating ways to grab capital when you need it, right? So loans are not like that. Loans are, here's how much I'm gonna give you, here's how much the money costs, and here's when I want it all back. That's a very definite plan. Even if I take your $10,000 and make $1 million, I just want my $10,000 plus my 10% interest. Whereas with equity, you get a percentage of the company, and if it grows well, you grow right with it. If it shrinks, you shrink right with it, just like if you bought a stock. And I think as entrepreneurs, we need to understand how we want the money to operate, how we want to talk about money, and what we want to do. And then you need to know these couple of tricks, right? If you know that you have a contract, say for instance, you got a contract and you need this money to fulfill the contract, and it's 90 minutes, 90 months.
Yeah.
Well, guess what you do? You tell the bank to defer my payments for 90 days. I will start that. Here's the contractual agreement, and you build the term. Don't know that if you don't know that.
Right.
That's what you have to understand. It's not that the money's not there. It's that we're not used to talking about money in those terms, whether it's equity or debt. All we say is a grant. And if I ask you, Raquel, sometimes you ask somebody what they want, I'll be like, how much money you need? Well, how much you got? That ain't how much you need. It's true. Right. How much you got? That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work.
Right. Okay. I want to switch the subject for a minute. Yes, that is very true. And the question is this: whenever I see and meet people, and we have this one, I need a kind of a quick answer. But when I see people that reach a certain level, was there any form of mentorship that helped to get you? You are now CEO of a massive program. How important was mentorship?
Absolutely important.
Okay.
Absolutely. They have coaches now. You can pick them. You can buy them. You can find them. You can school people. There's professors. There's a lot of folks. So have at it, and you need them because everybody has them. Even Michael Jordan had a coach.
So who was
my most influential was a guy named Paul Watson.
Okay.
He was the vice chair of Wells Fargo.
Okay.
And he took me around and he made sure I learned things that nobody else would teach me.
Sanford Livingston, thank you so much. We learned so much. I wish we had more time. I am Raquel Graham. You're listening to Entrepreneuring, and this is KBLA Talk 1580. Thank you so much, Sanford.